between have to be and ought to be. It's a difference between have to be and ought to be. Here's something that you really need. None of us have enough strength to run around and talk about how strong we are. The cry, the cry from every worshiper who's fighting the good fight of faith is that I am what I am by the grace of God. You're not what you are by your education, your learning, your training, your position, your status. That don't make you what you are. And yet it's those things that most of us put more weight on than the grace of God. You are what you are because of God's grace. You did learn etiquette at your grandmama's knee, but that's not what makes you what you are. You had some people who catechized you in life and taught you things while you was in school at certain levels, but you're not what you are because of that. You are what you are because of the grace of God. Many of our children don't even know what the grace of God is. They don't even know what the grace of God is. They don't know that there's a power, a divine power beyond ourselves that bring us to be what God wants us to be. They believe that it's TSU and Grambling and A&M and those places are good. They're there for a good reason. We all utilize them, and we do. But you're not what you are because of that. You're what you are because of the grace of God. So Paul says first in this first exhortation, the first exhortation in 10, he exhorts us to be strong in the fight. Not just strong to be strong, but be strong in the fight. I hope I have time to come back, double back on that, and tell you who you are fighting and who you aren't fighting. I don't want to do that because most people, most Christians are fighting the wrong people, the wrong powers. He exhorts us to do what? First of all, we have an exhortation. Exhortation means an encouragement, a divine encouragement to be strong in the fight. He says it emphatically, finally, my brethren, be strong in the Lord and in the power of his might. That is instruction for the fight. Be strong in the Lord. First, this strength that we have and this power and might that we are resting in, first is personal and intimate. You see that? He calls them my brothers. That's intimacy. The church, regardless to whatever name you bear, the best name that you would ever bear is sister and brother. That's the best name. Sister and brother. Oh, we call ourselves colleagues of one another and and alumni of one another. That's fine and well, and that may be true. But brother and sister, in heaven, in the portals of heaven, your name is written as brother and sister. I won't be known as Reverend in glory. I'll just be another brother. He says in the text says, finally, brethren, who is it that you want to be strong? You want sisters and brothers to be strong in the Lord, in the fight. I wish I had somebody. You want sisters and brothers You don't want, sisters and brothers, you don't want to be weakened and do what it takes, and yet we do it more often than we really realize. We weaken one another. Come on. You see, I hope that you have an attitude. I refuse to live here in the planet Earth with all of the promises that God have made to me. Come on. And I cannot access any of those promises. I refuse to live like that. I don't have them all. I'm still struggling. But and I'm not talking about, listen, I'm not talking about shoes and clothes and houses either. I'm talking about the eternal things from heaven. I don't have to sit around every day with my head hung down. Everybody I see, I don't have to make them become a suspect. Come on. That's miserable. I don't have to live trying to protect me among sisters and brothers because I'm already protected by God. I'm not running and rubbing elbows with certain people trying to find peace because my peace comes from Christ. And yet, this is the modus operandi many times of many of the things. So the first thing is a practical exhortation. The exhortation to strength in the fight. Strength in the fight. Who you go to the fight to see? Flyweight or heavyweight? Most people I know, they go to see the heavyweight. Be strong in the Lord, in the power of his might. His mightiness is what fuels you. I don't mean that along with something else. I mean that alone. So it's personal, my brother. It is positional. Where? In the Lord. This is not a picture of the physical here. This is a picture of the spiritual. Come on, beloved. It is in the Lord. Come on now. And if all of us who have people who aren't in the Lord, then we have to do the things that it necessitates in order that God will save them. We live around them like we're saved. We encourage them in salvation. We let them know that we're not perfect, but we are saved. I'm not perfect, but I'm saved. I'm not perfect. When your child asks you, no, I'm not perfect. Long way, but I'm saved. I'm saved. In other words, if I stand on the scale, they're not going anywhere. But when the Lord stands on the scale with me, they're going to be right where he intended. Why? Because it's not by strength, not by might, but it's by his Spirit. So it's personal. It is positional. It is practical. It's in the Lord. When I talk about in the Lord, I like to talk about some objects in your hand that you throw up. You draw a circle on the floor, and you throw the objects up in the air. And the only objects that are legitimate are the ones who fall in the circle. Anything that falls beyond the circle is illegitimate. Say that again. Anything, when it comes to eternity and heaven, when it comes to the church, anything that falls beyond the circle is illegitimate. It has to fall in the circle. It's in the Lord. The Lord is long-suffering. The Lord is tarrying. The Lord is calling. The Lord is waiting. Huh? Yeah. Can't you hear the Lord's voice calling? You know, one of my fears for the church, you do know that we're in the waning days. I don't know when. I'm not going to put no time in it, but you do know we got to be in the last days. One of the things that I fear is that people have gotten so far away from God, they can't hear him calling. My mom and daddy, I was raised in the country. I know it's rural, but it was a country where I was. Many pigs and hogs and horses and cows, and chicken. That wasn't no rural, that was country. That's where I was raised. But my mom would always tell us, my dad would always say, you can leave this house, but when I call you, you better come. Didn't they tell us that, McKinley? We could go follow George Houston if we wanted to. But when mama and daddy call our names, we better respond. I'm afraid that, oh my God, I'm afraid that the church have gotten so, not the church, the people who represent God have gotten so far away from God, they can't even hear him when he calls. He says that they are my brothers. And listen, it's not going to last always. It's time sensitive. If you look at that, it's time sensitive. Time sensitive information is not important after a period of time. One of these days, in case you don't know it, heaven gonna roll up like a giant scroll. Things that was won't be no more. Come on now. Things that we never thought in a dynamic world that is changing. It's going to change to the extent that we know that we don't have a shelter or now we have a place to run. Can I tell you something, beloved? The most important thing in your life is your soul. Seek the Lord while he may be found. Help somebody else to seek the Lord. I know there's a lot of hindrances and whatever else, and we got some for that in there. But the main thing, let me run on for this. I don't want to take too much. I really want to finish this today. Is that good? So the first exhortation is an exhortation for strength in the fight, to have strength in the fight. Keep fighting through these obstacles and these barriers and these hindrances that the enemy is going to put in your way. It is personal, it is positional, and it is practical, and it is time sensitive. That's verse number what? Verse number 9, right? Is that what I say? Verse number 9? Yeah. And verse number 10. Then second exhortation is to be properly dressed for battle. To be properly dressed for battle. To be properly, I'm trying to get this thing lined out where I can say it like I need to say it. But to have on the right clothes for the fight. LeBron James is a heck of a basketball player. He just doesn't wear Cleveland Brown football player uniform because he doesn't play football. When he was in Cleveland, he wore a basketball uniform. I wish I had somebody. Now he's in L.A., he wear a L.A. Lakers basketball uniform. He changed team, but he's still in the same sport. So he wear a comparable uniform. Look at this. Look at this. This is an exhortation. This is an encouragement to you to put on the right clothes for the battle. You're not going to a banquet, you're going to a battle. What he said, put on the whole what? Armor of God. For what reason? Come on, you can say that. It ain't going to go away whether you say it or not. Whether you say it or not. That ye may be what? Able to stand against the schemes of the devil. You got to be able in your life. Listen, if your life, I want to say something here, kind of radical. If your life doesn't mean anything to you, I want you to know this. It means something to the devil. If it doesn't mean anything to you, don't worry about it. It means a whole lot to Satan. He knows he cannot stop God, but he can give him a black eye with your life and mine. When I was a boy, my daddy used to tell me, I didn't understand all that. Boy, you carried my name. You carried my name. Don't get out there and do that. You carried my name. We carry the name of Christ. Do you all hear what I'm saying? And in our fight for life, in our fight for day-to-day, not existence, in our fight for day-to-day life, when the doctor has to tell you something that may be radical as it relates to your health, you can tell him, look at him in the eye and say, doctor, I'm going to trust God. I'm going to trust God. I'm not trying to dispute your diagnosis, but I am going to trust God. I wish I had somebody. Anybody here ever had to say that? I believe what the doctors say. I believe what the lawyers say. I believe what the professionals say, but I'm trusting God. When the doctor told me, you'll never preach again, and I said to the doctor, I'm trusting God. And that was around 1987. You won't preach no more, preacher. You might do a little lecture, so you won't preach no more. I said, I'm going to trust God. He wants us to know that we have to put on not part of the armor. Shucks, if I had time, I would really put on the whole armor. It takes a little time, personal time, to put it on properly. To put it on properly. But you got to put it on, all of it, because of what you got to do. Oh yeah, you got a fight up ahead of you. Some of us in a fight right now. And some of us would be in a fight and be, you know, that being a Christian is hard. Yes, it's hard, particularly when you don't have the armor on. It's unmanageable. It's not just good enough to make it. Making it is what? I'm eating every day. I'm sleeping every day. I'm wearing clothes. I'm riding every day. I'm working. That's just making it. But when your life is impacting people around you to the glory of God, people say, how you keep your head up? He said, baby, let me tell you, I'm trusting God. I'm trusting God. It's rough, but I'm trusting God. It's dark, but I'm trusting God. When life is hitting you below the belt, and everybody knows you're supposed to be down, but you're the first one up. You done put a Joe Palooka on them. You couldn't knock Joe down and keep him down. Every time you hit Joe Palooka, he bounced right back up. Every time when you got on the whole armor of God, I promise you, when you got on the whole armor of God, life will give you its biggest slug, but you can get right back up. Matter of fact, you got to get back up because you ain't got nowhere else to go. When you got on the whole armor of God, you don't have any more options. What is happening with some of us, we need to get some of those clothes that we claim that is armor, we need to get them out of our wardrobe. And then put on the whole armor of God. If you're going to stand, you're going to be dressed right. Come on. Life is going to see to that. Because life will come up on you like a flood. Huh? Life will come up on you like a flood. You'll leave out of church sometime. You don't feel like shouting. You feel like processing what the preacher said. Come on and talk to me. Somebody that they ain't having no joy. Every time you leave church, you're not supposed to be shouting and jumping and hollering. You're supposed to be processing the truth. So he says, if you're going to be, in verse 10, if you're going to be effective in that fight, in your fight, you got to be dressed for the battle. Now notice now, he didn't say dress right. He said dress for the battle. Now, but one way to dress, and that is the way in which the commander-in-chief prescribed. I need some military brothers here. I did not like OD green. That's a color. I did not like big combat boots. I did not like a cap that matched my uniform. I did not like my hair cut close shaved. I wanted to wear a beard. I did not like all of that. But when I got to base in Amarillo Air Force Base, they had my size, they had my color, they had what I was going to put on, what I was going to wear every day. Huh? Every day I had to wear green every day. Huh? I couldn't opt out for brown or some other color, pink or whatever. You know, some fellows would have had problems with pink. I had to wear OD green. You hear me, Halsey? Every day of my life while I was up there. Why? Because the commander-in-chief, before I got there, before I was inducted, he determined that this is the best uniform for the soldiers that we're going to induct into the military. You got to walk with me now. God is not concerned about what you like. He knows what it takes for you. Young people, please hear what I'm saying. I've been young. There's a lot of us in here I got some scars on me from being young. There's a lot of people who don't have scars. They got them covered up. You can't be young and not get some scars, but you don't have to get as many if you dress up in the uniform that the commander-in-chief prescribed for you. Culture does not have a uniform that can protect you. What about 6 figures? 6 figures will get you what 6 figures will get you, but it will not get you the protection from God. Pursue 6 figures. Get 6 figures. And watch and see if 6 figures can bring you joy. Can cause peace like a river to flood your soul. Can't do it. And so he says, put on, I'm almost through. He says in verse 11, put on. That's the metaphor. These metaphors, by the way, they are the metaphors of the Roman soldier, how he would dress up, how he was required to dress for battle. He said, finally, my brethren, be strong in the Lord and the power of his might. That's an exhortation to be strong. Then verse 11, his exhortation to be dressed. Put on the whole armor of God. God give you armor. Mm-hmm. Everybody love Pawpaw and Granny. But Pawpaw and Granny avoid Christ is a way that seems right, but it don't lead to salvation. Grandma and Pawpaw, I'm Pawpaw. We need to repeat what God says. And listen, let me tell you something. There's a lot of folks that's hurting young people talking about, go on and have your way, do what you want to do. That's foolery. The best scar to have is the one that you don't have. Some scars are from the outside, but some scars are from the inside. I wish I had somebody. It is not so much of those from the outside. Everybody can see them, but usually those on the inside, only you can see them. Oh my God. Man, I thought I was going to finish with this. I don't know if I'll finish with this. I might have to come back and revisit this again. So he says, when you fight, put on the whole armor of God. He says, gird yourself, your loins with truth. Your loins. Your loins is the strongest part of your body, your loins and your back. They connected. That's your torso, the middle part of your body, around your back. He said, he says, gird your loins with the truth. Listen, can I tell you something? The Republicans are not the only one who have an alternative truth. You better hear what I'm saying. There's a whole lot of alternative truth that's going on in church. Ain't no but one truth. That's Jesus. That's Jesus. I am the way, the truth, and the light. No man cometh unto the Father but by me. Truth is truth. If you love that boy and y'all marry that boy. If you love that girl, marry. Ain't no. Sure. Can I go where I'm going my way? I'm gonna go that way anyway. Doesn't matter. Huh? Ain't no such thing as free milk. I'm being nice. I'm talking about in this day and time. That is what culture teaches. But we're not given to culture. We are given to the truth. Even if I can't measure up to it, it's still the truth. He said you got to have, see, if I'm resting on a lie, I'm weak. And if I'm weak, I can't fight. I understand. Yeah, I do understand, but that still ain't what the Lord said. Now, I know you won't get this a lot of places, and I know I'm out of my place, but I'm going to stay out. I don't plan on getting too much back in. You know, I don't got too much time left. I had my wife laying her hands on me last night, praying for me. I was hurting so bad. So I ain't got too much time left. So while I'm here, I'm going to tell people the truth. I'm going to tell the church that God has called me to pastor the truth. Because if I tell you the truth and you believe it, you're much stronger. If I tell you the truth and you're in some ensnarement, you're liable to move out of it. So he says, first of all, have your loins girded with truth. Put on the breastplate of righteousness. Righteousness is not what comes from Jesus. It is Jesus himself. Righteousness is not the personality and the character of your pastor or another human being. It is Christ living in you, who is the hope of glory. He is right. Righteousness means simply what it says, right. He is right. There's no crookedness in him. There's crookedness in us. Yeah, you, me, every one of us. There's some crookedness in us. But there's no crookedness in him. He is right. I know that you don't bother nobody, but there's still some crookedness in you. I know you saying what a friend we have in Jesus. You teach a Sunday school, but there's some crookedness in all of us. In him, there is no crooked. There's no shadow of turning in him. He's the same today as he was yesterday. And on tomorrow, he will be the same. He is righteous altogether. Nobody can make that claim but him. So he said, put on the breastplate of righteousness. Get your feet shod with the preparation of the gospel of peace. Love the gospel. Love the gospel. You're not going to come all the way up to the gospel, but love the gospel. Put on the shield of faith. Without faith it's impossible. These are the eternal aspect of the uniform that he tells us to do, which is in the text. Put on the helmet of salvation. Have your head covered with, the work that God did in Christ at the cross. Okay. Put on the sword of the Spirit, which is the word. Which is the word. I wish that I could say as much as I really want to say about the word, but I'm going to tell you, but I want to tell you this, baby. If you don't have any word in your heart, you don't have anything really to ward off the enemy. The word has to be in you. The word is your sword. Huh? When you go to meet Goliath, and you're going to have to meet him after a while, and you don't have a weapon, Goliath is going to have your lunch. Every day, Goliath going to have you hiding in the bushes. Every day, Goliath going to have you running. Why? You don't have a weapon. You got to have, and then you have to be a person of prayer. That is how you dress yourself for the battle. Let me get ready to close this out. Then, in verse 12, you're fighting on two fronts. The arena of war takes you to two fronts. The first front is that you're fighting the powers and the rulers of darkness of this world. That is not a spiritual application there. On our part it is. When he said of this world, he means the evil occurrences, the evil authorities, the evil politicians, the evil policies. All of those things are the power of darkness in this world. That is beyond the church, but it affects the church because people are we come out of the society, come out of families, and we are part of a church. This is an evil world. Come on and talk to me. The world is evil. All of the systems of this world, they're not slanted to profit you. They are slanted to profit from you. Come on and talk to me. When they would take away the social security of older people, that's evil. Who have worked and laid a foundation, God Almighty, in this world. And now you are the first ones that they will cut back on your benefit. That is evil. I don't care from which angle you look at it. It is evil. And don't get to thinking that ain't nobody willing. I don't want to get political. I know how, but I don't want to get. It is evil for you to think that any system without some sense of qualification going to give you $8,000 in a voucher for your child to go to the school of your choice. You think that's reality? Going to give you $8,000 to send your child, provide transportation, tutelage, and all of that to a school of your choice when they won't even replace the light bulbs in the school that you're at. These are wicked schemes in high places. And I don't want you just to be rocked to sleep. If you don't do nothing about it, I just simply, as a pastor, I just want you to know about it. This is what we fight against. Wickedness in high places. And then I'm going to go a little further because I'm free, so God called me. Then when they get ready to do what they're going to do, they buy him a man and buy him and pay him off so that he can make the way straight for him. And they can just walk right on in. You think it don't happen, huh? Oh, yeah. Wickedness in high places. And you know what we sit back and do? I don't know what's going to happen. Satan will trample you down till there's nothing left of you. Care less about your heritage. Care less about your grandmother, your grandfather. Care less about how you cultivated this land. Care less about that. Come on. That's not part of the sermon. That's I just do that. Let me finish. So on two fronts, the power of the rulers of darkness of this world. Can I ask you a question? I'm about through. Is it dark in this world? Sure it is. Who you think is in control of it? Then the second front is spiritual wickedness. He didn't say weakness. He said wickedness in high places. That refers to the church. In the world and the church, we are facing the four of the enemy. We're facing the onslaught of the enemy. There's no hiding place. In the church, why it's wickedness in high places. Religious figures who are in high places, leadership in high places. Wickedness, not weakness, wickedness. Do you hear what I'm saying? A shortage of resources many times has nothing to do with weakness. It has to do with wickedness. Wickedness in high places. Now, he didn't say wickedness in the lower rungs of Christianity. In high places. Places that rule. Places that can say go and come and sit and stand. Wickedness in high places. But there is a place. There is a place. I'm through. But I think you need to know there is a place. There is a place that's beyond that we fight on, and that place is in Christ Jesus. Huh? See, the profile of our weapons, and I'm through, is that they are mighty. The profile of our weapons, in your own spare time and in your own look at this reference, and I'm through 2 Corinthians, the 10th chapter and the 4th verse is the place of our strength, is a disclosure of the power of the weapons which we possess. For the weapons of our warfare are not carnal. They're not made by man. They do not come from man thinking. It does not come from man ideas. It does not come from man philosophy. It is above, it's for the church, but it is above the church. They are not carnal, but they are mighty. How they get their might is through God. They are mighty to the pulling down of stronghold. When God get ready and said there's no more, it won't be no more. No more what, preacher? Whatever God don't want no more of, it won't be no more. Pulling down stronghold, casting down imagination and every high thing that exalts itself against the knowledge of God. When you got God's knowledge in you, when you got the wisdom of God in you, when you walk by faith and not by sight, brothers and sisters, you can walk on in Beulah land. You can walk over some stuff. You can walk through some stuff. People don't even know why they are doing. They don't even know why they are blessing your hand, because you got the light of God on the inside of you. It brings every thought into captivity to the obedience of Christ, and having in readiness to avenge all disobedience when our obedience is fulfilled. Obey God and watch God fight your battle. Can I tell you something? God ain't gonna do too much fighting for you when you fighting against another Christian. There ain't no fight no way. You're supposed to get that settled. There ain't no fight. You don't find God fighting for you on that. You fight that yourself by submission and surrender and forgiveness and asking for forgiveness. That's how you fight that. He already. But when it comes to the enemy, come on and talk to me. When it comes to the point where you can't get a promotion and you know you've trained everybody in your department, God will fight your battle. Promotion does not come from the north, nor the south, nor the east, nor the west. The Bible says promotion comes from the Lord. How did you get there? God put me there. How long you going to stay there? As long as God wants me to stay there, can't nobody overcome me if God put me there. We need to get in touch with the sovereign God, the God of the universe, the God who stood out on nothing and made everything. We need him to fight our battle for us. It's him. It's him. It's him that we need. Anybody agree it's him that we need? It's him that we need. We need him in our bedroom. We need him in our kitchen. We need him in our steakhouses. Yes, sir, we need him. I need thee every day. Yeah! That's who we need. That's who we need. That's who we need. Oh, yeah, we need more fighting for what we need than we're fighting for. You know, say this and I'm going. A lot of people, been my experience, fight break out. People, who fighting? Where to fight? And without complete information, they run out the door, run into the fight. Don't know who fighting. Don't know if they shooting, cutting, stabbing, got a bazooka. They don't know. They just run into the fight. That ain't the way the Christian fight. We fight on purpose. We fight with purpose. We fight in a planned way. And we know that we'll never be overcome. Because our enemy need assistance from God on our part to overcome him. Fight the good fight of faith. Mackie, come.